It's been so long.
All right, Charlie.
Jimmy.
First recording in a while. I can't remember
Yeah, it's
where
been
we
a
were at.
while.
Yep, I love it. We've both been traveling, doing some fall travel.
Yeah. Yep. Little travels, a little just yeah, trying to stay on top of the fall, and holidays are coming up and Halloween
Yep.
tonight.
Where you going? Are you going on the neighborhood? What are you doing?
We've talked about maybe going to this neighborhood down the street. You know, we're not really in a neighborhood. We
Yeah,
can walk down to it, but it's not real convenient. So we may just go to this neighborhood down the street. It's got real
nice.
flat, tons of houses. We can get the kids hooked up. What about you guys? I guess your
Well,
neighborhood's actually probably awesome tonight.
yeah, that's pretty good. I think we might just go to a church thing though. I literally have no plans what we're doing. I don't.
Yeah.
As I'm told, so I don't know.
Yep. Yeah, we haven't really talked. I've got a pot roast in. I'm doing a pot roast for dinner. A little Halloween pot roast. That's the most planning I've done.
Dude, so on that, guess what I did yesterday? I cooked a turkey yesterday.
Dude, yeah. What it on like a grill or?
In the oven. Nope. So what happened was last year I bought, like, I love turkey and dressing. Do you like it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's great.
And it's like one of those things. It's like, why don't we just do this during Thanksgiving and Christmas? Like, why don't we do this year
Yeah.
round?
It really
Well,
is silly.
answer A is you can't buy a turkey year round. Like, I don't know where they go, but you can't buy them in the grocery store. But there's this thing Butcher Box does every year where you get a free turkey if you sign up. So
Yeah.
we got in on that. We've literally had it in the freezer for like 11 months. So I'm like, so we thought cooked it. It turned out great. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Grandma's dressing recipe. It was great. So yeah, did that. So we got
That's
turkey.
awesome. Love it.
Yeah, this is good. So that's
Yeah.
good. You got pot roast going on.
Yeah. We love Butcher Box. We used to get all our meats there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. It's fun when you like a lot of subscription. It's fun when you sign up and then it's like, this is kind of expensive.
Yeah. You like have to learn, like we were getting deliveries too frequently. So you kind of learn to pace it out a little more, and then the budget wise it evens out. But yeah, it's spendy for sure.
Yeah. I need to probably look at, because you do it like quarterly. I don't know. You can do it.
Yeah, you can change how often you want. Like it's like you can do it every month, every 2 months, I think every 3 months. Yeah, which is quarterly. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so that was good. So
yeah.
Where are you at? You had like your 1031 time's done, right?
No, it's actually not. Well, so the window to identify properties is done. Okay. So I'm still pretty early in on closing on those properties. So that's where I'm at. I'm trying to close. So I've purchased one here in town, already rented. That one was awesome.
Okay.
And then with the rest, I'm purchasing these duplexes in Kansas City, and those are new builds. So as you know, with new builds, timing never works out. So it's like, oh yeah, 2 weeks, we're 2 weeks out from being finished. And then 4 weeks later, you're like, so are we finished? I'm like, no, we're 2 weeks out from being finished.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't add up. But so we're really close to closing on those. Should be closing in the next couple of weeks.
Okay. All right.
we'll see.
I should have sent this to you in my head. I was like, when I was reading, I was like, I should send this to Charlotte. And of course I didn't. There is a Toshiba plant. And this is going from memory, so all this is going wrong. Could be wrong. It's like being built like southwest of Kansas City, right?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. That's being built. Like there's a ton. There's I think Amazon's building a plant there. Okay. Yeah, it's a lot steadier market than everywhere else, but also, you don't get the volatility, you don't get the high increase either. It's more of a time plan there, but
I'm all about that. Yeah. Absolutely.
The duplexes I'm building are less than about 2.5 miles from. So in Kansas City, the stadiums, the Chiefs and the Royals stadiums are side by side. So they're like, only a couple miles from the stadium. So I think it should be a pretty great location.
Cool. All right. Well, good. Well,
yeah.
When you do those, you'll be done, right?
Well, yeah. When it comes to the 1031 exchange, that's it. Yeah, that'll be done. Yep. So interesting, man. Like I know we talked about it. I think I've said this once before, but I don't think I'll ever do this again. It's just been wild.
Hey, so I met a guy and it's very interesting. He's a super smart guy, and he's like full-time real estate investor, and he actually worked for like a really, really, really well-known real estate investor in town. But anyway, he's definitely like he is the definition of success with real estate, right? So
Okay.
but he's never done a 1030. That's something on 1031 because he's like he's older. I mean, he's like 70, so he's selling properties just for quality of life,
Yeah.
and like he said, he wants less tenants in his life, right? So he's first ones he's selling is getting rid of his apartment complexes and stuff. And he's like, yeah, I've never 1031 anything. So he has his own opportunity zone fund, so he likes that. And then he also has something, and I have no idea what the post office deal. Like, did you know post offices are like leased?
No, I mean, it makes sense, but
No,
yeah,
this is like
that.
dude, this is like a my first million special right here. Yeah, so post offices aren't, you can own them and lease them and it's one of those things like, dude, they're never going away. Like
Yeah.
and you, obviously the cap rates are like stupid low, but you also know it's never going away, but, but he said it's a nightmare dealing with them. Just I don't know, but it's like is what it is. You got, but
Yeah.
he does something with that. Like he can sell a property and roll it into a post office fund or something, and you don't have to pay tax. I don't know. It's something
Whoa.
that I didn't really understand it. We were kind of talking in passing, but anyway, he did something. It's like tenant in common. Have you ever looked into that?
I haven't. No.
It's a deep accounting thing, but yeah, it's basically, I don't know if it's a simple way to say it, but like, yeah, you can roll. It's just another way of rolling your gains and the
Yeah.
system pay without doing the 1031 restraints.
Right.
But yeah, that's what he does. But now I thought of you, man. It's been awesome, or for me to get educated on you. Just the stress of the 1031, like, man, it's a lot, and I can't. I've got a friend he needs to put 1.5 million to work, and I'm like, he's like blowing me up. Like, have you found? Like, I don't know. Like, I have no. Such a weird market right now to invest
Yeah,
in
it
because
is.
I don't know. I don't know. It's tough. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's been another thing too, is like just the fact that these homes in Kansas City are taking longer, like the interest rates just keep going up. So like
yeah,
the longer it takes, the less cash flow. I'm about to hit to the point where I'm just not going to make any cash flow on it, which
right.
sucks because I was like, man, I'm going to
Yeah,
crush on these. So those are, part of it is not the 1031. Part of it's just the realistic part of real estate and the
yeah,
market, and things don't never land when you think they're going to, or work when you think they are. But
right.
it is interesting. What are you, I mean, working with a bank, like, is the climate different, or is the pace
Yeah,
different for you all? And is
100
it,
100%. I'm like, but what's weird is, so everybody's tightening up. We're tight, like, construction, multifamily, like it's all like, tight. And what's weird though is people are still buying at like these pretty significantly higher rates because I mean, just nobody knows when it's going to stop. So like
right?
literally before this meeting, I had another meeting, and we're talking about refinancing something at like 5, like this summer. He goes, man, I'm kicking myself for not doing that because now it's 7, and
Yeah.
I'm. Are you going to kick yourself if it's 10 next year? It's just like that's.
Right.
So I think we're seeing. I mean, people are still buying at
They
like.
are. Yeah. I've had a couple of deals that I've tried to make, and they've been multiple offers every time. I keep thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna come in low.
That shocks me, Charlie.
I know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's, man. Yeah, it's blown my mind. I'm shocked how active the market still is. Maybe it's not that way everywhere, but at
Yeah,
least at least for the deals that I've tried to get over the past month, really, I've been like, wow, multiple offers every time. Every time it's been like, all right, best and final offer, and I'm like, I hate that.
for like what, you don't have to say like exactly what, but like what, like a single family house in Chattanooga?
Yeah, it was a single family house. It was in Hickson. Yeah, I mean, it was a great remodel that someone had done. It's a great rental. I don't know if who bought it, if that's what they're doing, or if they're living in it. But yep, that one, shocked on that. Like, I actually went up over asking price, still got beat out. There's a piece of land right down the road here, that actually that one's interesting. Multiple offers, so I went up on my offer. I actually won that one. Didn't think I was going to win that one because I didn't go up much.
Right.
But found out very quickly that you can't build, that it's in a FEMA waterway area. Like, so I was luckily in the 4-day window. We did like, it was like a crazy, like I did like a $5,000 earth money. Like, I did something really big just to kind of, make a statement.
Yeah.
And then like, I was like, oh man, like I immediately, I'm happy that I reached out to people so quickly about building, and had a couple of responses from environmentalists. And they're like, this is all a flood, dude. You can't build here. Nobody's going to let you build here. And I was like, wait, what? So I luckily backed out. I had 1 day left to back out, and I did. Woo! But I know I would have lost $5,000. But man, I thought I didn't think I made the window. I couldn't remember what the contract said. So I was kicking myself. I was like, oh man, I'm going to end up with this piece of land with nothing to do. It's in a great spot. But anyways, I'm glad I didn't. I was kind of pushing myself anyways, a little too much financially.
Did you look like how much in the flood zone it is?
It's like entirely in it. Yeah. I looked it up.
And it's like deep, like 4 feet or whatever, like a lot.
Well, the weird thing is like, there's a row of houses. It's literally backed up against Dayton Boulevard there. So, I know not a lot of listeners will know what that is, but, so the funny thing is they've built, like, I looked it up and did a little research, and they've built there's a man-made waterway that runs the entire length there of Dayton Boulevard, right behind all the buildings. And there's buildings being built. The new restaurant Clever L, which is awesome, it's like right behind there. So like, there's a big waterway built. So I could have, like, I don't know, like, filed petition or rezoned it or something. Like, there's probably some things that can be done that I'm just clueless. So I didn't know. And honestly, I was really pushing myself anyways financially to even make that happen. And so I was like, I don't even know what I'm getting into. It doesn't feel right. I just need to back out. So I don't know, like, someone who really knows what they're doing, make it, get in there and rezone it and make it work. It's a great little spot. But
there's something about when you go in with one objective and then you're like, you get into due diligence and then you find out it just, I don't think you ever really regret those decisions, I mean, because that's, dude, that's wild. Dude, you're not, I don't know. I never want to be like, oh, that sucks. You're struggling with construction. I'm Rosie over here, dude. We're building those 4 townhomes, up on stringers.
Oh yeah,
dude. You talk about like every 2 weeks and nothing's done, and we're like 2 months in, and it's like,
oh man,
are we like, we're kind of, my patience only lasts so far before
right,
kind of start losing it on people. And it's like, I don't know, man. I mean, we're like, I haven't been over there. It's one of those things I've started going over there a lot, and then now it's just like depressing. So I go once a week, and we'll see.
So, it's almost like, I like investing and being close to things. Like, I love that, investing here in Chattanooga, because I can just like run across the street, and I can fix something or handle something. But on the other side of that is like, you're so aware of it because you're constantly there, and you're like, things aren't getting done, or that lawn's not getting mowed, or
It's absolutely like that. Yeah. So well, good, man. I'm excited about your Kansas City project. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I think so too. Like, once those are done, and we've got renters in there, like, it's just gonna be smooth sailing from there. But and it's in a market that I've never really been in. I like that I'm kind of diversifying. I've got these in Florida that are building, which of course have been held up also, ever since the hurricane.
Right.
So I've got those in the works. Got these Kansas City in the works, then we've got some Chattanooga stuff. But
have they broke ground on the Florida stuff yet?
They have not. Yeah. So that's been the thing. They were supposed to, it was like literally the week of the hurricane is when they were scheduled to finish up all the permits. and then and start breaking ground. So everything's in an emergency state right now, which I don't know what that means. They're like, this is falls under an emergency state, but so things are going to take longer. But I don't. The properties that I have are not underwater. I know there was a lot of areas around Fort Myers and stuff that were underwater for a while, but I think a lot of the resources of the cities are going towards more relief work, which makes sense. And that's the right thing to do. And but who knows? You can't predict those things. But timing wise, I'm like, oh man, this is pushing out to like these won't be done probably till late summer next year, maybe.
Yeah. How's your brother? Has he sold his house yet, or no takers yet? Or
they sold their house finally. So they were under contract. They literally closed the week after the hurricane. And where they were supposed to. The winds actually took the fence. So there's a fence surrounding the backyard, and like the hurricane actually did go over where their house is, or the city where their house is, and like it mostly was just high level winds. The house was untouched, but the fence that went entirely around the house completely gone, like nowhere in sight.
Wow.
So they had to have somebody come repair the fence and push their closely out. But they closed on their house. So they turned around and closed on the house they had an offer on here in Chattanooga, and they just moved in last week, and they're still kind of doing the whole move in, unpack, and painting and all that stuff. But yeah, they're around.
That's cool. Where what area do they move here?
They're over they're technically in the East Ridge, but they're off Belvoir, like right there, like the Brainerd East Ridge area. Great little spot.
Yeah. I love that area. So, all right, I got a big question for you. This will be the podcast topic. You ready?
All right, let's go.
This is going to get deep fast. What do you think, what lie have you believed in the past, and like you now kind of recognize it as a lie or false belief? You can reword it however you want.
Yeah. No, I hear you saying it's an interesting question. Like,
I know you're like a 4, so you like to call. I can go first, so you can get some time to think. Or do you have something right out of the gate?
Well, like I'm actually having trouble. Like I feel like everything's a lie. Like I'm like, well, that's everything.
Okay, all right.
Like, but I'm also the kind of person that's like I feel like we're, as a human race, but also as individuals, we're constantly, if we're doing the work, we're constantly like learning new information about the thing we thought we knew. Like a phrase I found myself saying is like, always leave cracks in your certainty. Like never let the concrete be fully, because as soon as you think you know everything 100%, you're missing out on the opportunity maybe to learn something new about it. So yeah, I'm always like, leave cracks in your certainty. So yeah, but anyways, I'm kind of getting a little philosophical here, but there's a lot of things that I think we could go, different paths we could go down. But if you've got something,
you're on a roll. Go like business wise though.
Yeah, I mean, if we go business wise, there's a lot. Okay, so a good example, like I drank the Kool-Aid on the startup world a few years ago. Like I was that's all I want to do. I read Shoe Dog, the Phil Knight memoirs, and I just created this idealistic idea of a startup where like you get involved in a startup, you become a millionaire. It's a hustle, a grind, super fun. You feel like you're contributing to every piece, and there's elements of truth to that. A lot of people have made incredible wealth off of being parts of startup type of companies, but like the whole company equity, the dilution that happens after every fundraise, like it never is as sexy as you think it might be, or as it sounds, or you read about certain people getting rich, and it's just not that simple. So that's a piece. I think we talk a lot about investment, like 401ks to me are kind of a lie. They're better for companies than they are for individuals.
Let's get into that. How so?
Well, historically, 401ks were created actually to keep employees around. It sort of forced a loyalty to companies. And if I leave, I lose this investment, and my retirement possibility. And people were much more loyal, and there were a lot less opportunities for employment, when this occurred. But in actuality, the 401ks are the returns. The company actually makes way more off of the returns than the employees do over time. And there's the match.
How so?
Well, if you look at how it's been a while since I've done the research, so I don't know how clear this will be, but if you look at how company 401ks are set up, they basically protect the company more than they actually protect the individual. Right. And like the amount of money that an individual makes off of the investment amount that they're putting in is a fraction compared to what the company takes from it. Because they're also basically getting that same policy and that investment, like the company's investing in, a fund over time. So that's a part of it. Just kind of the mentality of rewarding loyalty. Not that there's anything wrong with it. Actually, there's a lot of great things about that, and I think many companies should do that. But just if you look at the market, it's also historically over time not the best way to use your $100,000 over 30 years or whatever it is. So that's kind of my mentality. I mean, when I did research, it's been a long time. I know there were a few other points that resonated with me that made me realize this isn't the best vehicle. I shouldn't depend on it. If a company's doing a match, I want the free money. I'll match, I'll put into whatever their match is if it makes sense for my strategy and budget. But I never look at that as being like, well, I'm just going to do this. And then one day I'll get a watch and I'll be okay.
Right.
Live on a golf course.
So you do it, but just for the match or whatever. Right.
I have. Yeah. Currently I do not. But it's, I have in the past.
All right, cool. So I'm going to dovetail off that and kind of even go bigger with it. I think I wonder, and I'm really getting into history more, getting old.
Yeah, I know, right?
So it's just interesting. We're up in Canada. This is rabbit trail. We're up in Canada, and me and my wife both are like, how did Canada become a country? We went to war and stuff. Nobody up here went to war. Did France? Did they just agree to buy it from France, and how did they get the money? You know what I mean?
Great question.
It's hilarious, Canada's history, because there's no real soldiers or anything, I don't know. It's just, anyway, that was history rabbit trail. All right, so here's my current thing, and please tell me, because I know you work for a personal finance expert, how this happened. How did retirement, when did that come into the equation? Because I feel like it's fairly new. And when I say fairly new, I mean within the past 50 or 60 years. I don't think back in the Industrial Revolution, people were there was no 401k, right? So what were people doing back then for retirement? Or was there, you know what I'm saying? So isn't Social Security kind of new too? With the one in that. So it's
it's kind of in that same. Yeah.
So I feel we've been sold, right? Retirement is a lie. It's a total lie. I don't let me tell you, the fastest way for me to get divorced is me sitting at home, not doing anything. That is I guarantee you, that is the fastest track for me to get divorced. Is well, God, I mean, I am not oh my gosh, that would just not do well for anybody. I gotta have a place to go, work to do I'm just not gonna sit. I don't know. And I look at my dad. So my dad did everything right, how they're supposed to do. Worked for a government, entity, utility, and he had pension, 401k, and something else. And my dad retired when he was 52. My stepmom retired when she was 49, and way more impressive because also because she was an immigrant and like came here, first job at McDonald's when she was 17. You know, she came here like $8 in her pocket. Just incredible.
Amazing. Yeah.
She's incredible. And it's like, dude, they sit at home and watch Fox News all day. I'm like, there is like, why is this like a goal? Like, this is not a goal. Like, nothing about your life is a goal for me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want any part of your lifestyle at all.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's just interesting. But once you challenge, it's like a lot of things. Like, once you challenge that assumption, it's the total foundation of how a lot of stuff is built. So once you don't even have a foundation, it's just like, well, what do I do? Where do I even start? Like, how do I approach things? You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, and you mentioned the pension, like that's where it started. It started in pension, and then the companies moved over to 401ks. And that's what got oversold. 401ks are not as rewarding as pensions were. Pensions don't really work very well anymore either. But
well, yeah. So that answers your question on like the risk. It moves the risk of retirement from the company to the employee. Yeah, you're exactly right.
Exactly right. Yeah. But no, I think that's interesting. Like, I do think, historically, our fathers and grandfathers were, told go to school. Why? To get an education. Why? So you can get a good job. Why? So you can make lots of money. Why? So you could buy all the stuff you need and then retire, and then, but nobody really talks about, well, why do you want to do all that? Why do you need a lot of stuff, and why do you need to retire? What are you retiring from? So, I do think it's like this mentality of you stay loyal to a company, to a job that you hate for 40 to 50 years so that you can finally, do whatever you want. But by that time you're so exhausted and burned out on life. Yeah. You just sit around and watch Fox News and, maybe go to the golf course. And
by the way, I'm apolitical. I don't care what you're watching. MSNBC, Fox. I don't care what channel. I don't even watch TV. So watching anything all day, like, that's disgusting. I don't want any of it.
Now I feel like now it's Facebook. That's just not constantly like, see what I saw on Facebook.
Gross. So, hey, you hit on something, or another lot is like college. It's funny. I was thinking about this last night of like, we're just now seeing the ramifications of like how college doesn't work on like so many levels. I think about like, dude, I'm so like lucky / blessed / whatever that I won a stock market competition when I was 12. And from then on, I kind of knew finance was my route. And I stuck with that since I was 12. And I'm still sticking to it. I love it. I love finance. But man, if I hadn't, so there's this guy, I felt so sorry for him, Charlie. I mean, we all like, he's like 30, he's like 31, and he's in college. And this professor, he went to a good, I don't know if it's Ivy League. It was a good college. And he's in this family like rock stars. Like, all his brothers went to West Point. I mean, like, he's like, one brother went to Harvard. I mean, I don't know. But yeah, this college professor was just like, oh, you would do good in HR. And so he just like went the HR route. And like now he's like this executive in HR. He's like, man, HR sucks. Like, you're just an order taker. You're not like, he goes, man, I go to all these conferences, like they're all like strategic direction. It's like, dude, we don't make any decisions. Like, we do whatever the higher ups tell us to do. And it's just a bunch of paperwork. Like, we're not doing anything here. And so now he's trying to get into finance, and like, dude, breaking into finance is not easy at all. So he's like trying to get some certificate. I don't know, man. I'm like, that's a rough road. But my whole point is, it's bigger than like college. It's a lot like big picture. It's like these professors, they have no freaking experience in the real world. So like, how can they even offer anything? So like these finance classes that I took, man, like, you memorize all these formulas that like aren't used. And like, I mean, it's like bonkers, it's just like, it's like, I know you're a designer. It's probably a horrible analogy, but it's like, imagine spending 4 years learning how to use Microsoft Paint when like you go to design, like, that's cool. We don't use Microsoft Paint here. Like, I don't, like, I
Yeah.
don't even know where to start with that. So
Right.
I don't know, man. It's pretty well. Are
Yeah.
you like, where are your kids at with, or first off, what's your feedback on that?
Yeah, no, I think it's interesting. I mean, living in the tech world, they say if you go to school and get a 4-year degree in the tech world, and when you graduate, you're 4 years behind
Yeah.
on what the technology, because the technology world moves so quick. I mean, there's a new language, for code, if you to learn for coding, a new platform, a new language, there's a new tools left and right that people use. And yeah, schools don't keep it. It's much more difficult to keep up, in where everything needs to be a certified program. And
Yeah.
yeah, the professors teaching it aren't more than likely aren't in the real world, keeping up with the tools and actually using them on a daily basis. Yeah, so I'm with you. Yeah, I think it probably just depends on what your goal is and what your path is. But yeah, I mean, you have to look at everything. You have to weigh everything. Like everybody who goes and gets a degree, I think on average graduates with, I don't remember how many hundreds of thousands of dollars on average. I think it's over $500,000 in debt on average.
Yeah.
And so, the whole mentality of, well, you go to school to get a great education so that you can get a great job so that you can make a lot of money. It's like, well, you're starting back, you're going backwards. You don't,
Right.
you
Right.
graduate with high school with zero debt, if as long as you're not an idiot,
Yeah. Yeah.
which, and then you just immediately go into the world as a young kid who doesn't even know how to make his own food, make ramen and peanut butter jellies, that's it.
Right. Right.
And,
Right.
and we're like trying to set them up for a career path. And it's like, well, so much of our world is sets around our finances. Like, I
Yeah.
think if we just taught people how to budget,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and like the power of money and
Yeah.
investment and compound interest over time, and like just give them some basics right there and then see what happens. Like, I think we'd set people up way more than 4 years of abstract,
Right.
so you can get a certificate.
Yeah. Are you like, what do you was like recommending your kids for college, or like, have they talked about any kind of career yet or anything?
A little, mostly our middle. She's the most driven out of
Okay.
all three of our kids, but she talks about it a lot, and I don't know. We don't discourage it. Obviously, education is huge. I'm a big
Yeah.
learner. I know you're a big learner. So like, I'm not. Hopefully, this doesn't sound like I'm just shitting on the educational institution, but
Right. Right.
I just think it's more like you need to look at things more holistically to
Yeah.
understand what's the right path for you to go
Yeah.
versus just following what everybody expects you to do, because that's just what everyone's always done. So when it comes to our kids, like we don't push it. We don't speak super highly of it.
Yeah.
But we're also not like, oh no, that's stupid. We're
Right.
like,
Right.
well,
Right.
okay.
Sure.
It's more like, oh, okay, cool. What do you why would you want to go to, like my middle, she's an artist, animator. She loves to animate videos. She's like, I want to do animation. And she's like already picked out the school she wants to go to, and then she wants to spend time living in Japan for a little while. And
Yeah.
she's got all these ideas, which are great, and don't want to discourage her dreaming and her world broadening. But do want to encourage, like, all right, well, let's think through this. It's very expensive to live in Japan, more expensive than to live here in the States. Like,
Right.
let's talk, okay, you're animating now. Why do you think you need a degree at this 4-year college
Yeah.
to be able to call yourself an animator? Maybe you can start now, and by the time you're at a college age, you actually might surpass all of them if you,
Right.
put
Right.
all your
Right.
interest into it. So, that's kind of how we approach it. It's never like, oh, that's stupid, but it's also, not, well, it's hopefully more practical approach. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome, man. Our kids took a like, I don't even know what you call it. It's like a youth like flying day where like these private pilots take these kids up. They get to fly the plane. So it was pretty
Oh,
cool.
nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, it was cool. So they like, yeah, obviously like fell in love with flying and stuff. So I met, you're on Twitter, right? Are you on Twitter a lot?
Yeah, I've actually gotten on there more lately, reading and following threads. I don't
Yeah.
post on there ever, but
Yeah.
I'm actually starting to get to the point where I'm enjoying it and
Well,
navigating
I
through it a lot more.
think this is, exactly worth what you're paying for me. I think having a Twitter audience is going to be way more valuable in the future with Elon Musk and stuff, just because he's so smart. I mean, and plus it's not, here's my, dude, you're like primo target for this. Well, first off, let me finish the Flying Magazine discussion. Preston Holland is on Twitter, and he's in town, and he's the CEO of Flying Magazine. So I randomly ran into him in the street, and I told him, like, my kids did this thing. He goes, dude, they should get their pilot's license, like in a very serious way. He goes, he was telling me about a G4. It was like this kid, he got his license when he was 14, and he just kept adding, instrumentation, adding stuff. And he was the youngest G4 license when he was like 18 or 19. He was 19 years old, made like $450,000 as a private pilot. And it's just like, dude, you're like, do you realize, I mean, you're just, and my thing too, this is why to me trade schools are unbeaten, because it's a time thing. Forget the money. It's a time, like, like you get your welding certification in 8 weeks, and let's just say it costs $5,000 or whatever. It's just like, well, let's say you are a welder for a year or two and you hate it. Well, cool. Now you can go sell welding supplies or go do an office job, but you know how to speak that, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's the time and money thing. All right. Back to Twitter. Facebook's just blown up. I mean, it's like not, the stock thing. Instagram, that's debatable. I think they are going to do a decent job of competing with TikTok just because they already have an existing base. Like, I don't think it's going away. Okay. YouTube Shorts, I think it's going to blow up. I think it's going to do well. I'm positive.
Yeah, it already is. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm scared about TikTok in that, like, I mean, it's owned by the Chinese government. I think there's a very clear, like, the government, U.S. government just shuts it down in the U.S. I don't know. I think it's a possibility. What's your social media forecast there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like with following social media forecasts, it's just follow the money.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm with you. I don't know. TikTok to me is the most, it's like the most pioneer sort of open, who knows what it's going to be, which is really fascinating. But yeah, I agree with Twitter is going to get really interesting. I mean, I just saw where, Dogecoin went up just because Elon Musk bought Twitter, and like he may incorporate some type of a digital coin in Twitter. I could see that occurring at some point, some kind of crypto. But yeah, I think I don't know. It's fascinating. I think there's also a lot of platforms that we don't know that are going to pop up. There was a platform the other day. I'm already forgetting the name. It's something really simple, like it's just me or something like that's the name of the app, but it was the only app I think it was last month to surpass TikTok for downloads. And it's pretty much, it's really interesting. It's pretty much, I mean, I haven't downloaded it or tried it or played around with it, but what I understood from just a few seconds of looking through it was it basically is like, so the young generation, a big way of communication is Snapchat. Everybody communicates through Snapchat. They don't text message. They just do DMs. So basically it was like Snapchat, but without all of the crazy news and features, and it's just a way to communicate. Like you and I is basically replacing text messaging, which is funny. Like, why do we need to do that? But it's a way to just kind of share things throughout the day, but just specifically with your contacts. It's an interesting app. I need to find it and remember the name. I'm
downloading it right now. It's just me.
Is that the name of it?
I'm looking for it right now.
Okay. I think it's something like that. It's funny because my daughter asked me the other day, can I download it? And I was like, I need to do a little more research.
Sure. It's
what is it called? Be Real. Sorry. That was the most. I just showed my age there. It's called just be yourself.
Oh my God, that's great. I'm glad we got the good laugh.
Yeah.
All right, be real. Yeah, maybe I need to check into before I download.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I need to go download it.
Age 12 years and up, Charlie. So
yeah. Yeah, it's definitely like a younger, and it actually may be great. It's actually might be more ideal, than the apps, our kids are on now. But I don't know. I need to do a little research first.
yeah, I love it. I love it. That's good stuff. I think having a Twitter audience, I don't know, like I think it's gonna be valuable. I don't know. We'll see though.
Yeah. I love it. I mean, I've been more interested just as I've gotten into real estate, and you've introduced me to a lot of the just some of the threads that occurred, some of the conversation that's happening there, and it's just so informative and interesting. And I do think as a culture, this actually hopefully loops back around to some of the questions you asked at the beginning of like, what have you believed is a lie,
right?
Or as a lie that you now know is a lie. And I think we're getting to the place where we trust information less and less, at least just broadly accepted information, news, Facebook, whatever. We were laughing about it. We're like, that's not news. But so I think we are going to get to the place where we trust real experiences and real people. And Twitter is a great platform to watch, real estate investors who talk about their specific deals, a lot like a podcast, and it's like, there's a lot of cool limitations around what you can share. And I think that makes it more creative. But yeah, I think the authenticity of it is what we're going to be drawn to. So I love it. I think I love your thinking there. I think you're onto something.
Yeah. All right, man, let's wrap it up. Now you got to get to a meeting. I got to get to a meeting. So.
All right, man. It's good catching up. It's been a bit.
Yeah. Good deal. See you, bud.
All right, buddy.